Aye.
Welcome this February 4th, 2020, the Airport Advisory Committee meeting. I'd like to call to order, and first thing on the list is public comment. And public comment is during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. Each person has up to 5 minutes to speak on the specific agenda item. And so we'll go ahead and open it up for public comment. No volunteers? Nobody want to? Okay, well, we'll close public comment and start on with the agenda. For one is for possible action, the approval of November 18th, 2020 minutes. Do we have a motion for approval? I'm sorry?
I move that they be approved.
Okay, we have a second?
Second.
Well, they're approved. Item number 2 is discussion of the planning for previous, current, and future community events. Since Mr. Williamson put that on the agenda, I don't really know what this is all about.
So what I was looking at is it's part of what's in the resolution for the Aviation Advisory Committee, and I wasn't looking for anything in particular, but I'm thinking that as we go forward, the Aviation Advisory Committee and the airport staff and whatnot, that perhaps we can look forward together to some community type of events, focused around the airport. So anyway, that I just wanted to see if we can discuss that and perhaps I don't know if you guys have done stuff in the recent past or whether you have anything that you're looking forward to in the future or anything like that, but it was just to kind of get us off top dead center, and so we start working together on some of that stuff.
Okay, we'll open it up for discussion. Anybody?
They used to do the airport days or something. I don't even know what it was called, but they used to open up the airport, and they had the Young Eagles flights going on, and they had people open up their hangars and display their planes. Gosh, it was a lot, and it's probably been 10 or 15 years since that's happened. Does anybody? I guess we're not asking the audience right now for input, but it seems, and another place that I go to quite often up in Spanish Fork, Utah, they have an event called Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and they have a car show down at the airport. Everybody's hangar's open that will participate. They have some air show stuff. They have some, and it's a big deal. Whole community goes, and they've got a little train that some dude put together out of barrels and a lawn tractor, and he hauls kids around. And something like that would be a lot of fun. I'm not sure exactly how to go about planning something like that, and I'm not sure with the high commercial traffic that we have at the airport if it's even feasible anymore. Just throwing that out there, because it would require I have to be cardoning off a portion of the airport anyway, using the east half or something. But it's if we want to include the community in the airport, that's always a good thing. It's good for the kids. They love to see the airplanes. We do a lot of scout things down there, for the scouts and youth groups, but those are smaller and more individual, usually held in 1 or 2 hangars where we show them the helicopters, show them the aircraft, talk about what makes them tick. A few lucky kids get to go on a flight. So those are the kinds of things that have been done in the past. And I don't know what the city's appetite for that is in terms of an actual public event.
Nick?
Okay, so a thought that just spurred in my head whenever you mentioned that is, I'm not sure, being here, 3.5 months now, but I'm assuming there's probably some sort of a car club that meets around here or something like that. And, even if it was a situation where, and I'm just brainstorming here, maybe they do a parade of cars and we drive through the airport at the same time, or if we've got an antique airplane, maybe somebody can do Photoshop shots with the antique car next to the antique airplane or something like that. I don't know. But, I think that is what you mentioned is very feasible. It's doing the Young Eagles flights with commercial traffic. I think that does pose some concerns, but I think that if we did some good planning, ahead of time, we could certainly do that. And I would, as the airport manager, I think that having a Young Eagles flight would be a great thing down there. So.
You know what, I agree. This city is wonderful at putting on, the best damn barbecue, art in the park, and it draws. It draws the people. But having something for the local community to do and everything, I think we have plenty of resources within the city and the volunteers that we could really, go all out and put something together and let it build to something like we have, today, right here behind us. And there's plenty of car clubs. There's plenty of people that we could get involved and do that. So thank you for bringing that up.
Seems to me it could also be attached to something like either Art in the Park or what's the other one in September that we have? The Brats Festival. Is that it?
Yeah, Worst Fest.
The Worst Fest. That could be just another display, outside of, in September where we could have, our airplanes in display, so it could just be another stop-off point. And so I just throw that out as a suggestion.
What about the individual hangar get-togethers? We've had a few people do those. You did one not long ago. Everybody wants to do those kinds of things. Those usually, it's a lot of fun. The one that Matt did was a ball. He had quite a few people there, and that wouldn't require near the planning and the coordination that a public event would, but it would include those folks in the airport. So we can talk about that as well. I wouldn't mind approaching one of these, and I don't know, does the city have somebody that coordinates these events? I don't know who does it, but approaching one of these car clubs and seeing if they'd be interested in, doing something down there, or one of these, just include an open airport day or something like that where we're hanging out there showing planes, as part of one of the other big Boulder City events. Just a thought.
And anything else? All right, we'll close discussion, and how about we go to 3 is presentation by the airport manager, Willa Williamson, regarding the proposal to create a hangar list populated by current hangar tenants while awaiting the city's plan for the expiration of the hangar ground lease, number 89-85. Go ahead, Willie.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, so I don't think really picks me up. Anyway, the idea of the hangar waiting list was in response to several hangar tenants in the Nuno hangars that expressed some significant concern over whether or not they would still have a hangar, after whatever happens. And, so the first thought I had was a right of first refusal, but that terminology comes out with a variety of legal issues and stuff, I've been told. So we can't use that. And what I thought was the best way I can do something in my position is to just simply put everybody's name down next to the hangar they're in and have a hangar waiting list in case whatever happens. And it's simply a situation to ensure that I have a name and location of the people so that, we don't end up with hangars or with aircraft having to leave and stuff like that. So it was just me trying to look out for the tenants the best I could. As far as anything official with it, there's nothing really official with it. This was just my idea to add this on to the tie-down waiting list. And so we started populating it, and the first one is with the new hangars, and as things progress, we'll naturally populate with the rest of the hangars.
I'll open it up for discussion.
I don't have any problem with it. You know, in the beginning we got a little bit of pushback. People thought that maybe that was some type of an indicator of what was coming, and we now understand from listening to you and some other discussions that that's not the case. It is what you say it is. Obviously, we've talked this subject a lot, and so, people were a little bit worried, but we appreciate the explanation and understand why you're doing it. And, I don't have any problem with that.
I don't have any problem with it either. Again, after the further discussion and the clarification, part of it, it took 180 to return. So, no, I don't have a problem with it at all.
Thank you.
So I got a question, Willie. So you say that there's a waiting list for the ground, or essentially the non-covered parking?
Yes, sir. The tie downs, we have a waiting list for those, the ones on the back area. And right now there's probably only 2 people on the waiting list for that. I expect that will be increased here shortly, not by hangar tenants or anything like that, but because of the need for tie downs.
So you're referring to, I assume, on the north side, the north side of the field?
Yes.
Okay, so then the south side of the field belongs to the FBO, am I correct?
No, that is transient parking, and that is owned by the city, but we contracted out with both FBOs to manage the fee collections and make sure everybody's parked appropriately.
Okay, so I'm just trying to get some clarification so I understand how the airport is set up. So you've got, because there is you can park permanently in that area though, on the south side in front of the terminal, can't you? They charge, it goes right to the FBO as opposed to the city?
No, there's not supposed to be any permanent parking there. What we have is a situation where we've got airplanes that are parked there that would go into the reserved parking if there was a place open for them. And there might be a little bit more to it than that because there's been airplanes parked there for a pretty long time, since long before me. But that's supposed to be all transient parking. And, I know my beloved goat is parked out there next to my window. Well, not my airplane, but, the Grumman Albatross, and that's taken up 3 spaces. And so we need to look at how we're going to deal with larger aircraft as well as a variety of other things.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion?
Just so I understand, so the north parking lot, but in the past we've used the south parking or the transient parking when there was enough room up in the northern. So is that still being?
Yeah, it is right, the present, but we're looking at ways that we're going to correct that problem. And I'm not sure what we're going to do exactly, but
Sure.
You know, it's kind of an ongoing brainstorming event that we have in the office.
Okay.
When back in the day, when there used to be 3 or 4 of those albatrosses out there, they used to park them on 27 right, and they'd just be all lined up there. I don't. That probably messes with the helicopter operations now, but that's just FYI. That's what they used to do, because there used to be 3 or 4 of them there all winter long, and now we're just down to 1. I guess we can look at that as a blessing. But yeah, they used to just park them out there side by side out there on the old runway, and didn't seem to bother anybody. But they didn't have the Healy spots out there that far at the time. Just food for thought.
Well, that's good information. Thank you.
Okay, so just as I'm trying to also get for future planning and understand this, so is it show on the master plan as far as the concerns? I mean, I don't want to drift off too far from this, as I'm just trying to figure out, as far as, since it was brought up, do you see that we will have the tie down parking? It will, essentially supply will meet demand, or do you see it as, that this list will get larger, or do you think it'll be covered?
Oh, I think there's plenty of room to expand. The problem is expanding ramp area takes a lot of money, and that can be covered by FAA grants. It's a lower priority than a couple of items, but it's certainly on the block. And there's 2 major areas. There's one on the southeast area, south of runway 27, and then east of runway 15. So north of Grand Canyon, Hangar. The 2 areas. The north area would be the quickest and easiest to clean up and make into additional tie down spaces or hangars or whatever. So, that's all stuff that I'm going to be looking at this year as we're going forward with modifications to the CIP and capital improvement plan and all that type of thing. So.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we'll close discussion and move to item 4, discussion of the methodology for advertising the airport for private aviators. Well, I guess probably, Willie, you'd probably be the best one to describe what you had in mind.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So, all airports need to get advertised somewhat here and there, especially, for private aviators. Some places have, a great FBO that has, pancake breakfast every month or something like that. And some are just really good places to go because they've got a restaurant. We don't really have much of that. We've got FBOs, and that's all well and good. But, I guess I'd like to see additional, private activity at the airport. You got a great airport out there. The hangar tenants keep their hangars just absolutely spit shine. That area is really nice, but we're missing bringing additional people in, and there's a variety of reasons why I think that it's important to advertise the airport, and part of it is I personally want to see more airplanes, private airplanes coming in. I would really like to see maybe the Air Patrol, maybe the EAA, meeting here. Of course, we still don't have a place to do that, but we're working on that. That's getting brainstormed too. So then it comes down to the thing, once we get something like that, or even before that, well, how do we get the word out to advertise? I mean, up north, everybody puts this stuff in a couple of little flyers up there and general aviation news or something like that, but I don't know what the right methodology is down here. And so I'm just hoping that I'm going to spur some ideas with the AAC and maybe the audience to come up with some ideas on how we do that. Do we send out flyers? Do we send out, mini plotters that have the name of the airport on it? Something like that. I don't know.
Just as you were speaking, I was just started thinking about probably the easiest thing to do is everybody's got some sort of social media footprint, and probably the first thing would be is to get like I think there is like a KVU Facebook site, and at least it could be kind of a home based or where someone can just go in and just look and see what's on there, what's happening, and someone could just post, barbecue at this hangar for that weekend, or whatever. Or that's actually, we're on the wrong one, but for the private hangars or private aviators, probably the word of mouth and also a Facebook page would probably be a good way to get started.
Well, I don't want to open up a can of worms here, but obviously the best thing is to have a vibrant airport that's known by reputation as a friendly place to be. And I know that you want to make it that way. We all want to make it that way. We have to work together with the commercial guys, but that word of mouth goes a long ways. And of course, the other thing, and this might be above our pay grade here, but people need to fly in because there's a reason to, and that a restaurant is just makes a lot of difference. I mean, shoot, there's nothing special about a lot of airports, but some of them have some pretty good little restaurants, and it gives their people a reason to go. But if it's just to go wander up and down hoping somebody's hangar door's open, that's not going to get it done. So it'd be really cool to, we kind of, I thought we had something going at one time with the barbecue guys, but that must have fallen through. But it'd be really cool to have a restaurant at the airfield at some point in time. And I don't know what it would take to get somebody interested, but I know I'd support it if it was decent. And because my favorite places to go are places we fly down to Calnavary on a regular basis, and it isn't the fanciest place around, but it's fun and the food's decent, and it's just a fun thing to do. But there's got to be a reason. There's got to be something to draw people there, and a restaurant is always a really good thing. I frequent a lot of the, especially experimental sites, but, people come and go out of Boulder City quite a bit. You see a lot of stuff where people are coming and going, and they're using this as a stop-off point, because it's, for a lot of people, better than flying and landing in Vegas or North Vegas or Henderson. So you do see there's a number of people coming through, get a little fuel. But gosh, it'd be nice to have some way to draw them here. And like I say, I know that's not the city's responsibility or desire to get in the restaurant business, probably any more than the golf course. But hopefully, the city might have an interest in trying to attract somebody to put something in, and I'm just not sure how that should be done. Go.
One of the thoughts might be we have some well-known existing restaurants. Maybe for one day a month, we have an agreement with them. We do the advertising. They maybe run a shuttle back and forth. They're around. They have the reputation. We can use them, abuse them, or whatever it may be. And it might work out well for all of us.
I think we have a lot of, I know we have a lot of special people in this town. I think we can put together a lot of things. I think we can. I think we can get people excited, and after we get through some of our short problems that we have right now, which we know we're going to get through I think we can put a lot of things together. I think we can have one of our well-known aviators put on a school on how to put a diesel engine in an airplane. I think we can have one of our guys sitting here. Maybe we can talk them into doing a start and a stop on a poker run for the motorcycle gang. I think we can do a lot of good, and I think we can draw a lot of attention, to the airport. Whether it be the restaurants, but just get the emotions high and get everybody thinking. And in some cases, everybody wants to support their airfield and everything. Then let's prove it. Let's get some things out on paper and see what we can do. But I look forward to this challenge, and I look forward to talking to some of my good friends and seeing what we can put together on this. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll close discussion, and we'll go to number 5, public comment. And for just as a reminder, each person has up to 5 minutes to speak, and comments made during this public comment period of the agenda may be on any subject. All remarks should be addressed to the city council or to the board as a whole, not as individual member or councilor and of the audience. There should be no personal attacks of the chair, or members of the advisory committee, or city staff, or any other individual. And so let's just keep it civil. And any question or anybody wants to speak? Go ahead.
See, there we go. How you doing? Mike Caruso, Boulder City resident, hangar owner. I had a different idea of what the meeting was going to be about, but I do want to comment on basically what you guys are just speaking of. When I was first getting into aviation, the number one thing I looked for was a courtesy car. Now, while I know that's a kind of an expensive proposition this day and age, the cool thing we have is proximity to what I consider one of the coolest little towns, certainly in Nevada. So in the meantime, I know the state of Nevada is working on trying to make OHV legal, which is like side-by-sides, golf carts, street legal, only on, smaller roads. If that does happen, I suggest a fleet of golf carts. I mean, a golf cart to go drive up to Pit Stop or Coffee Cup or, a lot of the staples here, I think would be hugely beneficial with a low cost. In the interim, though, we have an amazing bike path system. Something as cheap as some bicycles, or perhaps if you want to spend a little more money, even e-bikes will get people up that hill, because it's a little bit of a hill to get up. But anyhow, that's just my thought on that. I think that would be a very low cost thing to get people in, and then throw that on a Facebook page, and you'll have your people coming in town. So that is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, hello, Simon Whiteley with Papillon, based at the airport. I think it's a great idea to help draw people to the airport, but I think key to that is having food. It's the great American deal, right? Everybody wants to go somewhere and eat something, yes? I would have thought a good place to start would be a company such as Hangar 24, if anyone's familiar with that. It's a California-based brewery. They're based at Redlands Airport. They put on a fantastic air show about 18 months ago. I went and visited that. But they also have a subsidiary operation at Lake Havasu City Airport, where they sell the same beer, excellent food, and it's a huge draw. People come out of Lake Havasu City just to go to Hangar 24, and lo and behold, they're sitting there and they can watch the planes and get inspired by the whole aviation atmosphere. It's a great company, great beer, good food, and that's the key to it, in my view. Get the food here, and people will come. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
No, they didn't like burgers and anything like that.
Anyone else?
Real stuff.
Well, we go public comment, or actually we close public comment. And that moves to, anybody have any reports? Nothing? All right, so we'll have a motion.
We probably ought to talk about absences.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Since it's not on the agenda, we don't talk about it. Usually you put it on the agenda. Okay, then we won't talk about it. That makes it easy.
What was it, just so we can get it on the agenda next time around?
Well, usually on the agenda, there's something about.
Turn your microphone on.
Sorry. Yeah, we decide whether or not to excuse the absence because we've had some chronic absences. So, but yeah, we'll talk about it next time. It's no big deal.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
A second? Okay, meeting, I guess we're adjourned. Thank you.